Welcome back to the juiciest news in all of crypto, baby dolls. Please keep your back straight. I'd like to remind you today we're going healthy. You are steamed broccoli and you are accompanied by your friends, Mr. Carrot and Mrs. Corn. I'm just here to tell you something. We're cranking it. You see that interlude magical music? We are cranking along the Mt. Gox fractal Ponzi cycle. Now, we're moving along this, and I'd like to remind you something. Even if we don't get euphoria, we can still end up exactly where we should be. I think in another universe where the corrupt SEC actually approved the Roca Negra ETF, the Bitcoin ETF, the spot ETF in October, in another universe, friends, parallel universes, you know how these timelines work, multi-dimensional, interreality, you know all these things. We were meant to go up. But in our timeline, we're not. What's interesting is time is intertwined. So in another world, we went up. In another world, we went down. Maybe we're just going to get the pancake world. That is around $31,000 for Bitcoin by January to February of next year. I think that'll be a nice sunset for the 2023 era for us to finally say goodbye. What comes next? Well, look, if you continue the fractal, I don't want to do this. I mean, it just goes up and up and up and up and up. I don't know if we're going to get that. We're probably going to break at some point. It'd be fascinating, though, because none of us believe that the fractal will keep going. I think when we look at it, well, I hope so. Well, I hope if everybody's bearish, there's a chance this thing just keeps going. We're like, what the hell? What's going on here? So we're just going to wait and see what happens. As your friendly reminder as well, we are battling through the weekly super trend. We are still waiting to see if we can close in this higher area. See, isn't it fascinating to see that everybody switched bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish. We saw this. We felt it. I felt it every day with you. You could go back, listen to all my videos that you like, subscribe, press the belly button or two, and you shock the algorithm for this family-friendly show. You could feel it in our voices, in our loins, in our pointy elbows. We knew, like, it didn't feel good every time it was red here. I mean, I remember this. Everyone was talking about this gravestone doji candle. Who remembers this? And I said, technically it's not, but you get the point. So it's interesting that this thing just kept us bullish the whole time. But it's one thing, you're not meant to feel bullish, friends. You know, when you're doing these systems, how we will feel the crowd. What you and I feel, we're all going to feel the same things together. It's just that most people are always going to follow their emotions, and the final 10% who end up winning consistently over the long run, they are not. So what would be a cause for concern? That would be if Bitcoin closes under 23,500, it flips it red. Because as you know, every time we go red, it's Goblin Town. One time we went red and it wasn't the end of the world. It was actually the China ban, but we still needed like quite some time to get through it, man. We still need another 2 months. So, I mean, here's another time where it happened. You can kind of imagine though, if the zombie virus didn't happen, this is still Poopy Town, right? This is still could be 2, 3, 4, 5 months extension of this bear market. This is the Chainlink chart as well. Remember, Chainlink flipped over the elusive $8 zone. It closed the week above there. And now we're still battling around. I'm hoping this is the third red candle before we finally flip up. If I go back in time, there was this period in time where we did the same thing. It flipped green here at 50 cents. And then it did 1, 2, 3 red candles. And then it pumped up. What's interesting, from the red candle, right where it pumped up to, it's insane, right? That's a 10 to 11x. So I don't think that's going to happen. Of course not, friends. Like, let's say, whoop-de-doo, what are you going to get? I don't think we're going to get this break the high stuff. You know, the gains are diminishing. Market cap is real. There's too much liquidity going on. Don't forget, yes, there are moments in time where you will see crypto move very fast, but that's leverage. That's leverage. Markets can do these. It's not about moving fast for this short period of time in a day or a week. Like, we need to close periods. We need to finish periods where the whole market has accepted that, you know what, you've gone up, but I still don't want to take profit. That's actually how we go up. It's those people with big size. They're the ones who dictate whether we go up and down and whether or not they can like help fuel the next round of adoption to come in. Speaking of adoption as well, Pulse Chain is around 12,000 daily active users. I pray one day we can get to 120,000. That'll be a 10x of the user base. That'll be 100x on the price. And just to let you know, it doesn't have to be exactly 100x. It can get some euphoria as well, you know. Like, who's to say it's going to stop at 120k? What if it goes to 200k momentarily for a month? And that's how you, instead of getting a 100x, you might get a 200x price increase. Now, technically, what we've seen from the charts, you can go like 6x on the euphoria. in terms of above fair value. So I'm saying, yes, technically it could be a 600x price pump. But looking at the community, and it is, I know it's cycle 1 coin, but it's the same mind share of cycle 2 people, and everything's diminishing over time. It's harder and harder to get that type of pump up. So, you look at Bitcoin now, it doesn't do even a 3x above its euphoria. It only went like plus 50%, plus 80% on top of euphoria. So on top of this fair value, if you look at Bitcoin's price from the previous market, I think it's fair. I think it was around 40K valuation, maybe 45K. If you do 69 on 45, there you go. Bitcoin only went 53% above its Metcalfe's law fair value line. So that should show you, and that was Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was in its 3rd cycle. So this is the PLS chart, Pulse Chain Israel DeFi. We're going to go through some more numbers later on as well. This is PulseX as well. PulseX is still battling this zone here. It really is a battler zone. Still down 90% from the day 1 sacks. This is eHEX and pHEX. A lot of people have forgotten about the eHEX and pHEX drama. People like to throw sling. They go, oh, it's a scammer. Nothing's going down. Look, you can think about it any way you want. I'm just telling you this. I don't see a world where people come in and then they say, pHEX is the greatest thing ever, but eHEX is zero. How? I'm not talking about current people, because current people, we can't impact the price. It's the new people coming in. Do you see a world where people come in, they just say pHEX is the greatest, and they go eHEX is not? Like, that makes no sense. You go, why is pHEX the greatest? Oh, it's code, it's immutable, it does staking, the game share, the game theory, the community. Well, that's all the same thing in pHEX. So people who are FUDing eHEX, what they don't know is they're actually FUDing pHEX at the same time. And then if you say, oh, well, maybe the hex name is now cycle 2, well, you're fighting them together. Nobody comes in and just says, well, I'm going to splice everything up equally and do that. Now, technically you should, but on average, we know people don't do that. If someone has $1,000, this is what I've noticed. If someone has $1,000, they do not say to me, hey, man, I got $100 for 10 coins. Which 10 coins do I buy? They should say that, but on average, they don't. What they do is they go, wait a minute. Hey, can you tell me the best coin? Which has the best upside? They always ask that question. And what they're doing is they're speculating in their mind. They go, oh, I'll put this $1,000. What's the one that's going to give me the 30x? Of course, you ask that answer because you come in, you don't know all the information, and you see all these influencers, all these fake gurus around, and you assume that they knew what they were talking about. You don't know that there's a distribution of wins and losses and the different win rates being not as high as you think. And I'm going to make another video about this, but just to go through, friends, quickly, look at these win rates, by the way. So this dude just did this on-chain scanning. Look at this. Win rates. Look at the win rate here on the right-hand side, 9%. 9% win rate. And this is, by the way, this is the top most profitable trader. 9%, 13%, 19%, 11%. You see this? This is how gruesome the game is. They're not going to make it, friends. I'm telling you, like, we're looking at the top 10 traders here that are winning in this profitability. I promise, don't have to promise you. Go look at the stats yourself. There are over 100,000 people who got decimated beyond imagination. So that's why we have to stick to the long-term fundamentals. That's why I'm bringing you this juicy news. Lazar Fink, the lizard man. You see that, friends? Just licking the air. Slimy lizard. This is interesting because this is PsyOps. I'm telling you. I know PsyOps when I see one. Lazar Fink said Bitcoin is flight to quality. Now, you think, what does those words mean? Well, I'm going to have to pump some music for you just to tell you something, because very bizarre objects in the universe sometimes appear. That's exactly what that guy says on the announcement. These are enormous words. You can't just call something flight to quality. You just can't say that out of nowhere. I am now questioning him as a reptilian lizard man, but not really. Okay, that's why it's PsyOps. To call something flight to quality means that you are promoting it as a refuge of safety, which is meant to be the role of the US dollar. You see that? He's basically saying, Bitcoin's probably an alternative to the US dollar. Now you're thinking, wait a minute, these are just words, friends. These are just words. In my mind, you can either look at it two ways. Either he's not part of the lizard crew, either he's not a lizard, reptilian, or he's doing PsyOps. He's doing PsyOps. He's just saying whatever he needs to say to get people in. You never know. They probably gave him the word, the overlord, the bug eater overlords, right? He's one of the overlords, by the way, one of the prince overlords. The absolute, like the interdimensional overlords that like suck you into the UFO spaceship. You're not even allowed to see them because they look like giant manta rays. And if you're curious, I was curious too, friends. There's abduction stories. I know this is crazy. I was like, there's no way this is true. There's actually abduction stories where people on the UFO ships, they didn't see like a normal gray alien. They saw giant bugs. That's why it's funny. Isn't it funny? It's like, what? There's a possibility that you guys are actually real? The bug eaters? By the way, bugs eat bugs, okay? So it's funny, right? So that's the other world, friends. So I do think he's a bug eater and he's a bug prince and it's PsyOps. He might have been given word from them to say, listen, say whatever you need to say to get the retailers in. Don't forget, there are 219 million Bitcoin holders. They've got to get to 1 billion. If they get to 1 billion, the next 800 million people can be PsyOpsed. Their brains can be washed. They can be tainted. How? Well, you can tell them, you know, proof of stake's better than proof of work because we don't have electricity to dump on everybody. We don't have electricity fees and it doesn't pollute the environment, etc., etc. That's why it's important. So, you know, I did go on to say here, note, this could all be PsyOps. You tell everybody it's a flight to quality, which basically means when there's times of turmoil, go and buy Bitcoin. That's what it's basically saying, okay? And then I said later on, it just coincidentally, through the market chaos, dumps from $80,000 and around trips the dream in 2026 and ushers in a 5-year bear market sadness. So this is just one of the theories I'm thinking about how it plays out, because when this all happens, friends, like you got to get this thing just once right? And another interesting thing I just want to share with you, it's not like it's going to get here and you just guess. Do you understand? Like if we're in 2025, we're not going to just guess, okay? I want you to think about, what are you going to do if, all right, what are you going to do if, you know, your Bitcoin's going up and up and up and up? You know, this could be like, let's say literally, if this is the earlier Bitcoin, okay, let's say we're repeating a fractal Ponzi of sorts. Let's say we get here. Let's say this price is actually, this could be $100,000. It's 100K up here. And then here is like, whatever, like 70K. All right. What are you going to do if it flips red on the weekly chart? I want you to think about that. So it goes down to 70K. Look at this. Down to 40K. Now it's back up to like 60 or 70. All right. What are you going to do? Because you don't know what comes next. But all I can tell you is it was green and now we've flipped red. Do you see this? These are the points of inflection that make or break the whole cycle. It all comes down to these little moments. That little moment. What are you going to do during this period? What's everybody going to say? You know, you're going to see everybody, all our favorite heroes on YouTube who are going to be saying, no, it's one small dip. We're going up. The fundamentals, they're probably going to draw out that blue nipple chart and show them, no, euphoria hasn't hit yet properly. The on-chain, by the way, all those stats are all wrong. Why? They keep changing them. They keep lowering the standards for euphoria with each cycle. So don't get psyoped by them. There's on-chain stuff. It's all frauds. Don't pay thousands of dollars for this on-chain trash, okay, for Bitcoin stuff. So you see, it's not so easy, is it? What do you think is going to come next? Here's another thing, right? Look what happened in the last cycle. It flipped red. This is another thing, right? It flipped red. This was the China ban. This is China scum banning. All the insiders, F2 pool, were dumping Bitcoin here because they knew China was going to ban it. And look, they banned it. Look what happens next, baby dolls. We actually go and flip green. Isn't that crazy? Then now you're turbo bullish in Pumptober. This is October. See? October right here. But look what happens next. You think, no, by the way, you wouldn't get out here. Look, it hasn't flipped red yet. It closes green. You go, okay, we're still in the game. Uh-oh. You see that? Now we flipped it. Now, you might say you're a genius. And look, you're my friend. I don't know if you're a genius. You're a peanut brain like me. You might say to me, you would have gotten out here. But here's a sad truth, friends. I've got to remind you of this. Do you know your altcoins here? They are not down. So you're looking at this chart and you're thinking, okay, Bitcoin's down 35%. I'm going to get out 35%. Altcoins are not 35% down here, friends. Altcoins are down 60 to 75%. That means your whole portfolio is down 75%, 70%. This is the Cardano chart, Charles Hoskinson coin. Look at this. You know that when Bitcoin flipped red, it was here. It was in January. See this? These are monthly candles. Look what happens here, okay? You are down. Let's go to January. Look at this. You are down 65%. Look, it actually quotes you minus 70%. Look, I'm not making this up. You can see this right now with your own eyes, friends. Minus 70%. So like I showed for you. Now, here's the thing. You might say, oh, but if I made my millions of dollars, I would get out by then. No, you wouldn't. You know why? By definition, if you are still holding up here, that means your target was not hit. You know that, right? You know that, right? You do know that. You're like, wait a minute. If I'm still holding up here, that means I think there's a lot more to go. Otherwise, why would you still be in? That's why that's why Cardano hit $3 here. We all thought it was going to hit $8 to $10, right? So, and by the way, it's not just for Cardano. Every single altcoin, same story. By the time Bitcoin flips to confirm the trend the other way, you're down 65, 70%. Like I said, the example, imagine you had a portfolio at the top here. Let's say it was 400K. 400K. And let's say you think wherever everything's going to hit, I'm going to write this down here. Let's say wherever you think everything is going to be, you should be able to get 1 million. 1 million where you go, oh, I'll take some profit there. Because you're not going to say, I'll get everything out. No one does, right? Your target is for 1 million. But look up here. You're at 400K. So this is what the market thinks. You think the next staircase is to 1 million. But what happens in the future? Well, it's actually the end of the bull market, which you don't know. It just slowly dies down. It reverts now. But now when Bitcoin confirms, you're down 65%, friends. So if you just do 0.35 times 400K, you now have 140K in your portfolio down here. 140K. So obviously, because you can see, you have bias, right? You know what comes on the right-hand side. You know what comes on the right-hand side. You know that the market kept going down. So you're going to say to me like a genius and not a peanut brain. You're going to say, well, I would have sold everything. Unfortunately, none of us did. Everybody look around you to the left and right. Nobody did. I mean, they're still in. So you're going to be one of the few people who take a 70% loss. Do you know how hard it is, by the way, psychologically to go, I had 400K and now I've got to take it down to 140 because I was quote unquote greedy. Because that's what people are going to say, friends. The bears, the soy boy cucks, bears are smelly, they poop in the woods. Those little soy boys with pencil necks and their rounded elbows sitting on non-squeaky chairs, they're going to be telling you that you were greedy. But the truth is, they sold on a freaking 2x, okay? They sold in 2020 up here. You see this? They sold when it went up a 3x here. So this is the game. And by the way, I'm looking at a unicorn winner. Not every chart's actually going to do this. You know, I can show you realistic charts because, hey, Cardano was a unicorn from the previous cycle. Here's XRP, for example. Look what XRP did. By the time, this is funny, by the time XRP, by the way, didn't even get to the top. So, you know that 400K version in Cardano, maybe it's only still like 150K. You thought you were going to hit a million, you're at 150K. And look, by the time it reverts here, this is January, look down here. By the time it reverts, you are down, look at this, 70% from the top. So, look at this, there's a common theme. Every altcoin, no matter how high it went, is down 70%. So it's very tough, man. Here's Litecoin. Litecoin from its top. Here it was in January here. Look at this. Litecoin, where it prints from the top. Let's go to January of 2022. There you go. You're down. Oh my gosh. Litecoin's down 73%. Look at that. I just showed you 3 examples. 65, 70, 73%. You see the common pattern? You're down 70%. That's it. You're down 70%, friends. From your portfolio high, which was not at your target. You see why this whole game is dangerous. That's why I've been telling you, just get in the depression, man. You have to buy in the depression. There is no other way to make this. Otherwise, if you think you're going to keep getting these 2x's and 3x's, you're not. You're going to be making these 2x's and like a 2x or a plus 12%, plus 18%. They're only making it in that key window, the final 6 out of 36 months of the crypto cycle. So these people are making those 12%, 8%. I think that's great, but they don't know, oh my gosh, this 6-month window, I wasted it. I was making 6 and 12% and doubles and triples when I was meant to try to make like a 15x. Because then it's going to be dry for the next 2 to 3 years. That's why now, when it comes to someone like the Lizard Man, we take it seriously, okay? I'm going to end with some angel music, friends, because I love and appreciate you. I want you to know we're still going to make it. Don't forget, everything I teach you, I'm not going to be here forever, friends. One day, the wind's just going to take me, and I'm gone, okay? But we're still here right now. Let's make the most of it. Catch you in the next one. Don't forget, we're going to tell Mum and Dad we love them.